Welcome, I'm Fayaz Quresh. Our guest on The Living Legends has been incarcerated twice for his stance on social justice. He has served as a member of parliament and is involved in charitable causes. 30 years ago, he was in the heart of the struggle for multi-party politics in Kenya. For a man who is a staunch Roman Catholic, he has had the pleasure of being granted an audience by the Pope. In his hometown, they refer to him as Mtumishi. We hear from former Runyenjes MP Njeru Kathangu. Well, Kathangu.
Thank you, Mom.
Welcome. It's an extreme pleasure and honor, a privilege to have you as a guest on The Living Legends.
Yes.
You are a true living legend. Welcome.
I'm not sure that I am a living legend. All I can say is I am one of the Kenyans that believe that heroes must be respected, thought of, and placed well in society. If that happens to me, I will be thanking God, because legends are also heroes.
Spot on. They should be appreciated. Appreciated across the board.
Across.
Welcome once again. Tell us about your early life in education.
Well, I started my life in 1958 in education, when I was admitted for what they called then the nursery school in my village.
Right.
And I was attending the morning class for the nursery, and the priest in charge of my Catholic parish would admit me every afternoon for Standard 1 to practice what I would do maybe 2 years later. And in 1960, I was admitted for Standard 1. And since then to now, I'm still in school, because let me tell you, the academic classes I went through, the common entrance, I went through the CP, I went through the East African Certificate of Education, and later on in Form 6 and universities and colleges, is something that prepared me for life education that I pick on every day, at least a paragraph for my intellect. And
life itself is a school.
It's a school.
A complete learning experience.
Learning experience.
You never stop learning.
I have never stopped. I don't think I'm going to, although I think that every day brings me very closer to the end, and I will be prepared for it.
All ready for it, huh?
Yes.
Your first fallout with the state was in 1975, huh?
Yes.
You defied orders to suppress protests against the murder of J.M. Kariuki.
Yes.
And you got jailed for 5 years.
5 years.
Tell us that story.
I'm telling you. So one day, first of all, in 1974, I met J.M. Kariuki because I was involved in what we called the sport hunting. And sport hunting is that you get licensed by the Kenyan government to shoot animals, particularly if they exist in any national park, and reduce the numbers. But you don't just reduce, you actually reduce those numbers, have the animal and its items, and sell them. And so J.M. Kariuki was the Assistant Minister for Tourism. And at some point we met, and he said, look, if you are doing this, then I'll be interested maybe to have 1 or 2 items from you. Particularly if you are going this year or next year early, maybe I could have an elephant's tusk, 1 or 2, and give me, please, leopard skin. And I said, fine, sir, I'll try. That's how I met J.M. Kariuki.
Okay.
And we continued as friends as we were exchanging.
So that was the point where your friendship began.
Started, right? And so, by the time that we were coming to March of 1975,
right,
we had done quite a lot with JM. And in fact, during the preceding week, where JM was all over the place doing things, maybe saying bye-bye, whatever it is, I met him once or twice in February, about 24th, 25th, and 26th. And it is actually after that that we were told JM was missing. And that touched me a lot. Because one, this is a man we had done a few things together in Nanyuki, in the Budus and the fields of the animals.
Right.
And now that he has missed, I got interested. And getting interested, all over Nairobi and everywhere, people were saying that they have killed JM. Some of them didn't know. Some of them were sure that he's gone because he had been picked from Hilton Hotel. And I went to Hilton to ask what happened to my friend. And one of the people that we were always with for coffee said that man was picked by one Ben Gedi. That is when my story started. And when I talked to Terry later, Terry is JM's wife, great woman, and she is still around here. And I would say because of that, may every wife of JM and all their children continue to know that we remember you in our prayers, and may God bless you with strength. And therefore, personally, when it had been confirmed that JM is gone, then I decided that maybe because JM is my friend, it is that I should be able to know why he was killed.
So you spoke out.
So at the military level, I was an officer, and with the fellows that I associated with as officers like me, I told them that was not the government to support. And that is where my problem started. But then, sometimes around there, Jomo Kenyatta, the first president of the Republic of Kenya, and disappeared from the public because of the demonstrations that were taking place in Nairobi then. And we wanted to know, where did the president go to? And therefore, because of those demonstrations, the military council, security council, military fellows, from the bases, decided that they were going to look for Jomo Kenyatta so that they can bring him out to give the country confidence. And that is when they organized that they would bring Jomo Kenyatta to Kenya Cinema, at the heart of the city,
right,
at lunch hour on the 25th of March 1975, so that we can give him a salute and have the air salute, up here, with all the jets and so on and so forth, with the military cavalry and the military characters from Navy and from the Air Force marching across the streets of Kenyatta Avenue and what have you, to give Kenyatta the salute. I was going to be one of the platoon commanders to give that salute, and I said, because I know that we are doing this against the people, because of a friend of mine that was assassinated, I choose not to do it.
Of course, you were arrested after the Saba Saba events.
Yes.
That was with Edward Yugi, George Anyona, Professor Edward Yugi, Professor Ngotho Kariuki. You were detained, tortured,
yes,
charged with sedition and convicted.
Yes. In this manner. When Mwakenya started, I had personally gone to Britain, and I was there with Ngugi wa Thiong'o, 1983-84. But then 1986-87, that is when a lot of arrests were conducted. That time, some of us decided, no, let's go back home. And I moved from London and I came to Nairobi. Established a small business on Moi Avenue, and it is in Moi Avenue where we started coordinating activities about the clamor for multi-party politics. Myself and John Anyona. So we established permanent office at Magezo Chambers and another office at Musa House next to Missing Lane Market. And so that's where we were coordinating the Sabasaba after Kenneth Matiba and Charles Rubia announced prematurely, although that is a story for another day, prematurely, but we decided that we should not cause disunity, and we coordinated it until they were arresting themselves on the 4th of July. And 1 week later, immediately after the Sabasaba, we were arrested on the 11th. And we joined them in committee and Naivasha.
You serve people through charity. Take us through this initiative that you started.
Good. In 1995. In 1995, I went to the Special Branch Kenya, who had confiscated my passport for a long time. And they agreed that now, Kathangu, you are okay, we can give you your passport. 1 year before, and that is in Kamukonji. In Kamukonji on July 4th, Michuki, late Michuki, and James Orengo again had collected 73 signatures from members of parliament to start something called UDA. Kenyans, some of those that are young now, think that this UDA is a new UDA. It is not a new order. UDA, United Democratic Alliance, was formed by Michuki and James Orengo in 1994, and it was launched in Kamukonji grounds on that date of July. And I was there. And I went there because I wanted to speak there. And when I went there, Gerard Kopio was the master of ceremony, and the guest of honor was Kibaki, Wamalwa, Shikuku, and John Jindenge. Those four were there. And they spoke, and they did not give Kathangu, this man Kathangu, opportunity to speak. And I thought, no, this thing has to stop, because we cannot behave like before. So I went up the rostrum, up the dais, and I said, man, I need to speak here. And Gerard Kopio said, no, you are not on the list. And I said, but the people are waiting for me to talk to them. Yes, the people are waiting for me to talk to them. And everybody in that thing started saying, Captain, Captain, Captain. So I took the microphone.
So you addressed them?
Yes. And when I'm addressing them, then these other guests of honors decided to leave. And I said, no, there is no problem. What we do now, because I have the microphone, can we have two good gentlemen to come up here and pray for the nation as we close the meeting? In the meantime, because we have seen that we still are discriminated upon, even by our friends, from now on, we shall form a movement that is going to look after the marginalized, the excluded, the needy, and some of those in this society that think they can do things but they have no opportunities.
So that's how it started?
That is how it started. And from the ground.
So has it grown from strength to strength?
Yes, it grew.
And it's helped a lot of people?
It has helped a lot of people, where we have been looking after needy children, orphans, all over the place. We have looked after children that are now serving even in the military, children that are now in medical schools, children that are, and I am happy about it, great artisans and electricians. You know, that for me is beautiful, and that is why we are here to say that even if we don't do other things, maybe God can bless us because of the one and only one person we have assisted from gallows.
Your views on the current political arena and the forthcoming general elections, and you're also the Secretary General for Fordasili.
Yes, I first of all must say that I am here to represent a lot of people. Now that Quresh invited me here, allow me to say that all the people that started the liberation movement in this country, I represent him here, because I cannot be able to walk away from them, and I don't think they can walk away from me, whether they are in the spirit form, because they went before me, or physically in this country. And because of that, I hold the baton left by Kenneth Matiba, left by Shikuku, left by Jaramogi Oginga Odinga, Masinde Muriro, and all the others. And because of them, I must say this. that Kenyans, you have finished exactly 30 years from the time that Ford was created in December 1991. In 1992, the Ford split into Ford Kenya and Ford Asili. And I am the Secretary General to this day of the party Ford Asili that Martin Shikuku left. From Martin Shikuku, I became the Secretary General. And within this studio somewhere is the chairman of Ford Asili who came to witness what he said that I am saying. And because you've given me that opportunity, may I say that for what Ford was formed, we have not achieved. And because of that, what has happened is that there has been total reversal of what the intentions of the founders of Ford. And because of that, we are saying, please let us step low and slow, because what I have seen, there is intense conflict going on between the leaders and some of their supporters and followers. Nations cannot be built that way. The president has to turn down, the Ruto has to turn down, Raila has to tone down, because all of them have responsibility that more than 40 million people in this country are people below 35 years. And those 35 years and below are actually waiting for their blessings, guidance, and security.
And opportunities.
And opportunities. And because of that, we are all relying on them. And in fact, somebody like me, I assume that God the Father is actually guiding them. If they think it is not God the Father guiding them, they need to tone down. In the meantime, to say this, from 1983 to this day, there is no election I've not presented myself for election other than 88. And because of this, I am promising Kenyans, when all these forces cannot unite because Kenya is a beautiful country, can be created into a rose flower, then Ford Asili and Njeru Kathangu are going to give themselves to this nation as a candidate actually for the top seat, and that Ford Asili will be still our party. We, 30 years ago, won the elections, and we want to say 30 years later, 2022, we shall be in the ballot.
I wish you all the best, and let's pray to the Almighty for a very, very bright future for Kenya.
Yes,
and
there is
a very peaceful election.
There is an organization that is working for the peaceful transition here called Public Affairs and Concerns Council, and very soon they are going to be announcing the programs to make Kenya peaceful. I want Kenyans to pray for us, and you too, Quresh.
Will do so.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Asante sana.
Bwana Kathangu.
Nashukuru sana.
It's been an extreme privilege.
Yes.
You're a very resilient man and a man of principles. It's great to have you as our guest on the Living Legends.
Thank you, sir.
Asante sana.
Nashukuru sana. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir. Asante sana. Good.
It has been an extreme pleasure speaking to the former Runyenjes MP Njeru Kathangu on the Living Legends, a stalwart of charity, social justice and multi-party politics in Kenya. The message he passes is that Kenyans should reflect on the need for being just to each other at all spheres of life, and that different opinions are not hatred. Thank you to Mishi Kathangu.
Asante.
I'm Fayaz Qureshi. Thank you for joining us.